Hey guys, welcome back to Tekneikos. In today's video, I am going to walk you through the 20 most commonly asked SQL questions, but it's not just going to stop there. I will also dive into the cross questions that interviewers might ask based on your answers, so you will be fully prepared for any follow-up. And to make things even clearer, I will be showing you the actual SQL queries so you can understand each concept in a more practical hands-on way. This video is going to be super useful for you guys. I can promise if you watch it till the end, you will be beneficial a lot than you think. Also, if you have not already set up SQL Server or MySQL Workbench on your system, I have already created a separate video on how to install them on Mac. You can watch it. So let's start. So this is the complete 20 most asked questions note that will be provided to you through Google Drive. And one more important thing is the examples used here are based on the employees and employers, and I will be teaching you with a different example, which is student table, and this will help you to understand both type of questions. So let's start. We have our first question. What's the difference between DBMS and RDBMS? Database management system is a software that allows you to store, retrieve and manage data in databases. Very simple. It can be used to manage structured, semi-structured or unstructured data. Very simple. For example, file systems. Now, what is RDBMS or Relational Database Management System? This is a type of database management system that stores data in the form of tables, rows and columns, and maintains relationships between them using keys. It follows the principle of relational algebra and normalization. Very simple examples are MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle servers. I have also created one and the other one diagrams for you to understand these points. Now you might be thinking, why your interviewer might ask you a very basic question. He will ask you to make you feel comfortable. He wants to know whether your core basics are clear or not. So he might ask a lot of cross questions, like we can see in non-relational database management system, we will have poor data integrity, basic security, limited multi-user access. So a cross question can be, why do we have basic security in non-relational database management systems? Or can we use non-relational database management systems as a relational database management systems? Can we utilize that factor? We have simple queries only. We have flexible data structures. We have easy setup. And in relational database management systems, we can format the data. We have relationships, normalization. We will see what is normalization in upcoming questions. Multi-user access. We will have high security in relational database management systems. We have data integrity, complex queries. These are the benefits of relational database management systems. So let's move. So this is the second question that we have. What are primary keys and foreign keys? This is one of the most asked questions in the interviews. A primary key is a field or combination of fields that uniquely identifies each record in the table. Okay, 2 points you must remember: it cannot be null, it must contain unique values. The role is very simple: it ensures entity integrity. So we will see this one example is for the department. For the primary key, they might ask you to write code, so we will do that as well. Let me open the workbench. So let's create a database as school, and it is created, and then we will use school. Let's create the table, create table students, and inside this table we will create student ID as int primary key, name, age as int, and we will have one grade as well as character. Now we have created the table. Let me run this query. you can see the table is created. So why I mentioned student ID as primary key? This is the question. What we have learned, that a primary key is a field or combination of fields that uniquely identifies each record in the table. So when I visit your campus or your university or your school, how can I identify you if I don't have your name? The primary way or the best way is to ask someone your roll number. That's the primary thing that differentiates you from other students in the campus. So that's why we created student ID as primary key. Now I will add some values into it so that you can understand. Insert into students and we will write the parameters. Then we will add values, suppose 101. Now if I run the code, you can see we have added the values into our table students. And if I add some more values, let me add some more values to it. Now before adding, I want to show you how and why we will get error here. Suppose I change the name to Rohit and rest of the things are suppose different or same, doesn't matter, but the value or the student ID is 101. If I try to run this query, you will see insert into value, we are getting an error, duplicate entry 101 for student ID. That's what the primary key does. It will not help us to add different values. It cannot be null. It must contain unique values. These 2 points are justified with this example. And if I make it null and run it, you can see column count does not match value. So let me make it something different and run again. You can see now. So let's see our table. We will use select star from and then table name, which is students. We will run this query. You can see here we have student ID, name, age. So let's move. We have seen what is primary key and we will see what is foreign key. A foreign key is used to create a relationship between 2 tables. It acts as a link referencing the primary key of another table. This ensures that the value in the foreign key column must match a value in the primary key column of the referenced table. That's how relational databases maintains consistency across tables. So we will understand with an example because they might ask you to create a foreign key. So let me just make it a bit like this. And to understand foreign key, let's create another table. So we will do create table and then marks. Inside this we will have mark ID, which is int primary key comma student ID as int, then subject varchar 50 comma. After this line we will write foreign key. We will pass our student ID and then references students, the table we created for students, and we will pass student ID. Very simple. So then we will simply run this and the table is created. Now what this line does, thus this student ID in the marks, which is this, must exist in the student table. So we will insert some values to it. Insert into marks. We will have the parameters or the fields that we have, mark ID comma student ID comma student and then subject marks, and we will have values as 1 comma 101 comma math. Once we did this and we will run this query, you can see the value is inserted without any error. The reason is very simple. 101, which is this, is exist in the students table. So let's see the error, how we can get that as well. So I will copy and paste the value again, and I will have 199 as student ID. And if I try to run this, we will get error. This is foreign key constraints in action. So you can see foreign key. Yeah, we have. In this example, I have used the employees table, and we have seen how we used the student table. Now let's see some of the cross questions. Can a table have more than one primary key? This is a question for you. Let's see the answer. No, a table can have only one primary key, but it can be composite, made of multiple columns. Okay, what's the difference between primary key and unique constraint? This is also one of the mostly asked questions. So both ensures uniqueness, but primary key is unique plus not null. We have seen there. A table can have only one primary key but multiple unique constraints. So can a foreign key be null or duplicate? Yes, null is allowed if no relationship is defined for that row. Duplicates allowed unless it's explicitly defined as unique. Now, can a foreign key reference a column in the same table? Self-join, which is yes, commonly used for hierarchical data like managers in an employee table. So I have also given you the example, you can refer. Now what happens if you try to insert a value in a foreign key column that does not exist in the reference table? The DBMS will throw an error. We have seen this. Let's move to the next question. What are SQL constraints and their types? Constraints in SQL are rules applied to table columns to ensure that accuracy, validity, and integrity of data in database. They prevent invalid data being inserted, updated, or deleted. We have not null, one of the constraint. This ensures a column cannot have null values. So let's see all of the constraints live action. I have already written the queries. So what we are doing, we are just creating another students table, and inside this the student ID is primary. We are learning constraints. So name is not null, we cannot provide any null value. Email is unique, email should be unique for every user. Age, we are using int check, age should be greater than 5, greater than or equal to 5, or less than and equal to 18, and default for grade is NA. So we will run this. Okay, we already have students, so we will have one student table, and let me run it. You can see the table is created. Let me add some values to show you in action. So this is nothing but I just added some of the values simply using insert into student and the values to the student table to show you different constraints. The first one is let me comment it as well, is for not null. So if we run this much, we will see name column cannot be null because we have name. I have not written anything, so I have to write that as well. We cannot have null value. We will have something as Tekneikos, and now if I run it, it will work just fine. Yeah, it's working. Then we have unique. If I run this, you will see we are getting duplicate entry because we have mentioned here that email should be unique. It's unique constraint, so we cannot have rahul@example.com again. If I run this, so if I change this to, okay, the emails are same, ria@example.com, and if I run this, it should work. Yeah, it is working. And this was about unique. Now it's time for the check. So for the check, we are checking if the age is greater than equals to 5 and less than equals to 18. In this case, the age is 3, so it should not work. Yeah, it's not working. But in this case, the age is 16, it should work. It is working. Very straightforward. And let me just show you for the entry 205. You can see here the grade is null, NA. For the last case, you can see we have mentioned default as NA. So default, we got NA as grade for the student ID 205. So this was all about it. Let me move to the notes. We have seen unique, check, and not null, default. So you can either show in a single example to the interviewer or in multiple examples based on what he wants to see. So we will have cross questions again. Can a table have multiple unique constraints? Yes. What's the difference between unique and primary key? Very commonly asked question. Both enforces uniqueness, but primary key cannot be null and a table can only have one of them, but a unique can have null. Differentiate DDL, DML, DCL, TCL with examples. So we have DDL, data definition language. DDL stands for data definition language. It is the subset of a database that defines the data structure of the database when the database is created. For example, we can use the DDL commands to add, remove, modify tables. For example, drop table, employees. Key commands are create, alter, drop, truncate, rename. We have already seen create, drop, and let's move to data manipulation language. Data manipulation language makes the user able to retrieve and manipulate data in a relational database. The DML commands can only perform read-only operations on the data. Okay, we have seen insert into students, but the example here is employees. Very similar. Update, delete. Now data control language. These are theoretical and mostly asked. They will not ask you to explain each and everything. They might ask you what is DDL, what is DCL, like this. And DCL, data control language, allows users to control access and permission management to the database. It is a subset of database which decides that which part of the database should be accessed by which user at what point of time. So we can grant or we can revoke the access. Now we have TCL, transaction control language. It is used to deal with the transaction operations in the database, especially in multi-step data operations to ensure atomicity. We begin with update accounts, set balance equals to balance minus 500, where account ID is 1. Very self-explanatory query. So this was about DDL, DML, DCL and TCL. Just remember what are the commands that come under DDL, what are the commands comes under DML, these things, and bit of their definitions as well. This helps you to understand them in a much efficient way. So let's move to the next question. Difference between delete, truncate and drop. We have delete, truncate and drop. So let's understand each command, then we will see their live actions as well. Okay, first one is delete. This used to remove specific rows from a table. You can use where clause to delete selected rows. Delete can be rollback if inside a transaction the table structure remains intact. Very simple. This is slower than truncate for large data sets. And we have truncate, used to remove all rows from a table very quickly, faster than delete, cannot use where clause, cannot be rolled back. Okay, then we have drop, used to completely remove a table or other objects from the database, deletes all data and table structure itself, irreversible. You would have to create the table again to use it. Okay, we have seen the theory part. Let's see the practical. So I have created a demo table for question number 5, which is your demo student. We will run this to create a table. Very simple. We will add values to this table by insert into demo student values. Once we do that, we will delete a specific ID, delete from demo student table name, where I mentioned here that we can use it with where clause. Where is that line? Yeah, where clause. You can use the where clause. So I have used it and we deleted that. What actually happened here? Only RIA, which is 2, this one, is removed from the table and other rows remain same. Let me show you this as well. Select star from demo students, and after deleting, if I run this, you can see we don't have RIA anymore. We have 1, 3 and 4. Now let's move to this place and we will add RIA again by running this. RIA is again added. Now let's see truncate in action. Truncate table demo students. We will run this. We are not using any where or anything. Now let's run the command, select command to view the table. You can see there are no data. Everything is removed except student ID and name, which is the structure that remains intact. And the last command, drop table demo student. We will run this, and again if I try to view it, you can see we don't have that table anymore. So this was the live action. Let me move to the notes. I hope you have understood all the commands, truncate, drop and delete. So there can be a lot of questions around this. What is the difference between truncate and drop? Just remember these key points. So I have written it in a much simpler and single line. So let's move to difference between group by and order by in SQL. Though both are used in select statements, they serve very different purpose, and this is one of the most asked question in an interview. Group by, used to group rows that have same values in specified columns, usually combined with aggregate functions like count, sum, average, etc. helps in data summarization. Okay, this is one departmental example you can refer. Order by, used to sort the result set in ascending or descending order, can be used in any column including aggregated columns or expressions. Very simple diagram I have created, group by clause and order by clause. Before going to the cross question, let's see these two things in live action. So let me just write the queries, then show you. So I created another table. Let me run the code. So students G is created. I think I should name, this is question number 6, so I should comment this as well, so that if I give you the file you can understand. Question number 6, and after that I will add the values into that table. Values are added, very simple, nothing fancy. Now we will use group by, and when you should use group by, when you want to summarize data like the total or average marks per class. So we will do select class, we will select the class average marks as average marks, and from student G, which is table name, group by class. Very simple. So we will run this command. We can see we are getting class 10A, which is 10A. The average marks is 82.6667. For class B, 10B, the average mark is 90.0. 92.0 is for 10C. Now go down, and this is an example of order by. So let me just run this and then I will explain. You can see what I did. First, think, why do we use order by? To sort your results ascending, which is by default, or descending. Now what we are doing, we are selecting name and marks from student G table, ordered by marks descending. So what is actually happening? We are getting Ria, Pooja, Sahil and their marks in descending order. Very simple. Now this is when we use both order by and group by together. Let me first run this, then I will explain. We are simply selecting the class average marks as average marks from which table? So from table G, group by class, we are grouping it with class, order by average marks, descending order. If I don't mention anything, we will get in ascending, but I have mentioned in descending, so we will get in descending, which means class 10C has highest mark, class 10B after class 10C, then class 10A with the lowest average marks. Very simple. Now you know the use cases. Let me open the notes. Group by, used to group rows with that have the same values in specified columns. Then order by, used to sort the result set in ascending or descending order. You can refer the example as well. So the cross questions, can you use order by without group by? Of course we did that. Can you use group by without aggregate functions? Yes, but usually used with aggregate functions. Okay, what happens if you use a column in select but not in group by or an aggregate? So you will get an error unless in only full group by mode is off, which is in MySQL. These questions might not be asked, but you may be asked to write code using group by or order by clause, so be prepared with that. Let's move to the 7th question. What is the difference between where and having clause? These clause I am making you practice so that you won't be having any trouble writing in a real interview. So where clause, this filters rows before grouping. Okay, very simple. It works on raw data directly from the table. Having clause filters records after grouping. This filter rows before grouping. This filter row records after grouping. It works on aggregated grouped data like count, sum. So we will see the example. You can refer these two employee based examples as well. Let me just open workbench. We already have one table with data, so we don't have to do much more thing. We will write simple codes. For question number 7, let me write where clause, and we will do select star from student G, and then where the marks is greater than 80. Very simple. We will do this, and yeah, so we are getting the data. Aman, Ria, Karan, all these people having marks greater than 80. This is how we use where clause. Now let's see another one. We will do select. We will select the class comma average marks as average marks. Okay, from, you know what I'm going to write, students G, and then we will use group by with having. Okay, group by class, and then having average AVG, and then marks greater than 80 maybe. So we will run this. We are getting class 10A having average marks more than 80, class 10B and class 10C. So this is how we use having with group by. Let's see another example. Look, I am writing the queries, you are just watching, and you might feel that I'm learning. Even if I have interview tomorrow, I can write these queries. But the thing is, you cannot. If you don't practice along with me or after watching this video, you may not able to write these queries. Select, we will now combine where with group by and having, all three. Okay, where select class comma average, and then marks as average marks from students G, where marks is greater than 80. Okay, and then we will group them by class having average marks greater than 80. Okay, we are done. Let me run. We are getting 10A, 10B, 10C. Okay, let's just improve this to 90, and only one guy, 10C class have average marks above 90. Yeah, that's cool. So you can understand from this how we summarized everything, and I have also mentioned the examples using employee as I promised. Select star from employees where salary is 40,000, above 40,000. So this filters and shows only employees who earn more than 40,000, works on individual rows values. Okay, because why it is working on individual rows? Because we are using where. Now example using having only. Select department count asterisk as total employees from employees group by department having count greater than 2. So this shows departments that have more than 2 employees works after grouping is done. So you can understand and practice these questions. Let's move to the next one. Question number 8. What are aggregate functions? Give examples. Very simple. Aggregate functions in SQL are used to perform calculations on group of rows and return a single result. They are commonly used with group by to summarize data. We have commonly used aggregate functions as count, sum, average, minimum, maximum. These all are self-explanatory, so I will not take much time on these, but you should understand when these aggregate functions are useful at what kind of problem statement. This is where you will stuck if you don't practice this. You might think count, this returns the number of rows in a group, but when to use count, when to use sum, these things are important in an interview. So we have already examples. Select max salary from employees. Output is definitely highest salary. So you can refer. I have mentioned everything with their definitions. So the ninth question is, what is indexing in SQL and how it is useful? Very theoretical question, and they might ask you to write the query as well. But the thing is, these questions are used to check your fundamentals. So you should be very clear about these questions. Indexing, as name suggests, in SQL is a technique used to speed up data retrieval operations on a table. Very simple. Suppose I have a book and I want to read the chapter number 9. How can I open the chapter number 9 directly if it is a 500 pages book? We have content page in which there is written that chapter 9 can be found on page number 109. This is how indexing works. So we have why indexing is useful. This makes select queries faster. Very simple and straightforward answer, especially on large tables. This improves performance on search conditions like joins, where, order by, reduces disk input output by narrowing down search range. So we can create the index, create index name on employee and then name. There are different types of indexing, like single column index on one column as above. Like this example creates an index name on the name column of employees table. Composite index on multiple columns like this, create index department salary on employees department comma salary, both the columns. Unique index ensures indexed values are unique. Create unique index email on user emails. So I just created a table students index and added some values. Now I will run this query, create index name on students index table name and name on name. So this is a single column index. So we will run this. It's working, and now we will change this to, let me just search for my YouTube name, Tekneikos, and if I run this, you can see how fast we got the result for Tekneikos. It's just 0.00054 seconds. So student ID 1 tekneikos@gmail.com, email exa.com, and marks is 85. Now what another thing is, let's move to composite index or multi-column. So we create multi indexes on multiple columns on class and on marks as well. Let me just run it again, and if I run the second query, we are getting Tekneikos 10.8. Very simple and very fast. So this speeds up queries using both class as well as your marks. I don't know whether you can actually see the difference in the speeds or not, but it's actually pretty fast. Then unique index, we will add a unique index on email, and once I run this and I will run this one, you can see when I run this one, I am getting error, insert into student index, error code 1065, duplicate entry 1 for key student. So we cannot have duplicates. If I run this, we are again getting error. If I change this to something else, so it makes sure the value should be unique. Now I will run show index from students index. Let me run this. You can see here number of non-unique student index. This is your, if I can make it bigger, yeah, now you can see key name, index class, marks, primary, index email, and one unique index. This is unique index. This is your sequence in index 211. So the more you explore, the more you can understand these things. Let me open the notes for you. Let's see the Cross questions. Can we create multiple indexes on a single table? Yes, of course we did that. What's the difference between unique index and primary key? Both enforce uniqueness, but primary key also ensures not null and is used for table identity. This is one of the tricky questions that you may face. So the 10th question is, what is normalization and its different forms, 1NF, 2NF and 3NF. So let's talk about normalization. This one is one of the most essential concepts in database design. Normalization is all about organizing your data efficiently, reducing redundancy, and ensuring integrity across your tables. Think of it like decluttering your database. We start by breaking big, messy tables into smaller, focused ones that each handle one responsibility. So let's start. We have one real life example, orders table. We have order ID, we have customer name, we have addresses, we have product. So the problem here is, here in customer name and addresses are repeated, which is Alice and 123 Main Street, New York. Both are same. So the normalization form starts from 1NF, first normal form or atomicity. So each column must contain atomic values, no comma separated lists or nested data. So the bad example is 123 Main St NY USA. This is not atomic. Okay, so we can fix it using customer name is Alice, street is 123 Main St, we separate, and the New York is city. Now every cell holds a single atomic value. So 1NF is done. 2NF, second normal form, no partial dependency, must be in 1NF. All non-key columns should depend on the entire primary key, not just part of it. In our case, order ID is the primary key. Customer name and address don't depend on the product, only the customer we know. Now we can split into two tables. One is order table, order ID, customer ID, product. One is customer table, in which we have customer ID, customer name, street and city. Now third normal form, no transitive dependency, must be in 2NF. No non-key column should depend on another non-key column. Remember this line, no non-key column should depend on another non-key column. In the customers table, street and city are both addresses related. This is transitive dependency, customer ID, address and city. So separate addresses into its own table. So we have orders table, order ID, customer ID, product. We have another customer table with customer ID, customer name, addresses. We have address table with address ID, street and city. So this is how we normalized and make it more cleaner, scalable and high performance data. This is the 11th question. What's the difference between union and union all? Union combines the results of two select statements and remove duplicates. Union all combines the results of two select statements and keeps duplicates. Very simple definitions. Suppose we have a developer table, developer 2023 Alice Bob Carol. Now another table we have developer 2024 Bob Dave. Using union, no duplicates. Select name from developer 2023, this table, union, select name from union 2024. The output is Alice Bob Carol Dave. The Bob is removed. This combines the results of two select statements and removes duplicates. So Bob was duplicate, so it got removed. Bob appears only once. Using union all with duplicates, select name from developer 2023, union all, select name from developer 2024. We are using union all. In this case, Alice, Bob, Carol, Bob, Dave. Bob appears twice because union all does not remove duplicates. Very simple. Now cross questions. Can I use order by with union or union all? Yes, but only once after the last query. Select name from A, union, select name from B, order by name. This is how you can do it. What happens if column count or data types don't match in both queries? So you will get an error. Both queries must return the same number of type of columns. Let's go to the 12th question. Write a query to find second highest salary. These questions are very common in interviews, and you will face a lot of cross questions in these type of questions. So return the second highest salary from employee table. The first one, as I told you earlier, we use max and subqueries. So we select max salary as second highest, okay, from table name employee. Where salary is less than, select max salary from employees. This is one way. First we find the highest salary using this, then finds the highest salary that is less than that, the second highest. Very simple way, using max. Using limit MySQL, okay, select salary from employees, order by salary in descending order. I mentioned this, limit 1 offset 1. So this will sort salaries in descending order first, skip the first highest salary with offset 1 and returns the second. Very simple. Now the cross questions that you may face. What if two employees have same top salary? Will both methods will still work? Yes, but if you are asked for second unique salary, use the first method. For second highest distinct, use select distinct salary from employees, order by salary distinct, limit 1 offset 1. So for safer side, go with the max. Question number 13. What is view in SQL and why it is used? This is one of the very commonly asked question in SQL interviews to check your fundamentals. A view is a database object that has no values. Start like this. A view is a simple database object that has no values. It is virtual table that contains a subset of data within a table. It looks like an actual table containing rows and columns, but it takes less space because it is not present physically. So it's a virtual table with the columns, with the rows, but does not take much space because it is not present physically. It is operated similarly to the base table but does not contain any data of its own. Its name always unique. A view can have data from one table or more than one tables. If any change occur in the underlying table, the same change is reflected in the views also. Now you might think that what is the use at the end of the day if it is not storing any values, if it is not present physically? So the primary use of view is to implement the security mechanism. It is the searchable object where we can use a query to search the views as we use for the table. It only shows the data returned by the query that was declared when the view was created. Okay, I hope you understand. We have an example. Create view high salary employees as select star from employees where salary is greater than 550,000. So this creates a view called high salary employees that shows only employees earning above 50,000. I hope you understand. You have two tables, you are passing queries which has a view table and which has a column, row, and it's returning. What are triggers in SQL? A trigger in SQL is a special kind of stored procedure that automatically executes when a specific event like insert, update, or delete occurs on a table. Okay, remember this much only. Triggers are useful enforcing rules, validations, or logging changes automatically. Types of triggers. There are different types. Before trigger, after trigger. This runs before the operation is executed. This runs after the operation is executed. So there is an example as well. After update trigger, we create trigger log salary change after update on employees for each row. Insert into audit log employee ID, old salary, new salary, value. So when an employee's salary is updated, this trigger automatically logs the change to audit log. Very straightforward. Now we have cross questions. Can triggers modify data in other tables? Yes, but must be used carefully to avoid recursion or performance issues. Can you have multiple triggers on a table? Yes, for different events, before update, after insert, etc. Let's see this in live action with our workbench. So I have already written the queries for you so that we will focus on learning, not wasting our time writing. So this is a table. We will create the table. Yeah, add some values. Done. We will make another table as audit log, which will have log ID, student ID, old marks, new marks, and change that when what is the time. Now this is very important. At this point we are creating the trigger. So we have create trigger log marks change, and after update on student trigger. For each row we begin if old marks new marks is either greater than or equals to, that insert that 2 in your new table audit log. So we will run this. Fine. Now moment of truth, we will update Aman's mark. So we will update it. If I show you the audit log, so you can see clearly we have created one log ID, we have created one student ID. Old marks was 85, new marks is 95, and changed at the date, exact date and time. So let's open. We have already seen the cross questions. What are windows functions in SQL? Window functions perform calculations across a set of rows related to the current row, okay, without collapsing the result into a single row like aggregate do. They are used for ranking, running totals, moving average, etc. We have one example, ranking within department. So we have select name, we selected name, department, and salary. So rank over partition by department, order by salary in descending order as rank from employees. So what it does, it ranks employees by salary within each department. Partitioning by department groups the data. Ordered by salary in descending order ranks higher salaries first. So other useful window functions, we have row numbers, we have seen rank, we have row numbers, unique row number per partition, no gaps in ranking, next gen previous rows value, running total. So these are actually important. You can prefer learning more on these functions. Let's see these things in live example. So I have already created a table, and let me just run this code and add the values into it. So you might be thinking I'm again and again writing all these things. No, I'm not writing, I'm just copy pasting. I just wrote once and just doing it again and again. And when I think of data entry jobs, it feels so difficult to imagine how someone could write and deal with RDBMS manually. Now there are so many tools and technologies to make things faster, but remember, people back then used to do these tasks manually. Can you imagine writing data manually and putting it into your RDBMS? So hectic, bro. But now there are so many technologies and tools that can do these things in seconds. So let's back to the topic. We will select name, class, marks, use the rank which we studied here. Let me open window function rank. What it does, it gives same rank for ties. So we will back to the workbench. Let me run, and yeah, we are getting Ria rank in class 1, Aman rank is 2. Then we will see row numbers. Let me run it. Before that, let me show you what row number does. Unique row number per partition. So we are getting Ria, row number is 1, Aman 2, 3, 1. You can see these queries and understand. I think I should give you this file as well, so this will help you to prepare. So the cross questions. What's the difference between rank and dense rank? Rank skips ranks for duplicates. Dense rank does not. Very simple and straightforward answer. Can you use where with a window function? You cannot use it directly in where, but you can use it in subquery or CTE. So what is CTE is our next question. What is CTE, or common table expression? A CTE is a temporary named result set that you can reference within a select, insert, update, or delete query. It improves readability and it useful for breaking complex queries into simpler logical chunks. Think of it as temporary view that's only visible to the query that follows. Syntax: with CTE name as CTE query. Select star from CTE name. Okay, we will see this with example. So I have already written the query. Let me explain you. Question number 16. With high scorers as select star from student. The previous table we created for question number 15. I am using that table where marks is greater than 80. What it does, the with block defines a temporary result set for high scorers. Okay, this defines a temporary result set for high scorers. Very simple and straightforward. Now you can query this result just like a table in the main query. This helps organize complex queries and avoid repetitions. So we are using that small temporary result to query our high scorer. Okay, if I run this, so we are getting Aman and Ria are the high scorers having marks greater than 80 in class A, 10A. You can see the benefits. I think you should practice these questions so that you can understand much better way. Readability, it increases readability, reusability, recursion support, temporary scope, only available during that query. Okay, these are the cross questions. How is a CTE different from subquery? One of the most asked question. If you have been asked what is CTE, then they will probably, and very high chance is there that they will ask you what is the difference between CTE and subquery. CTE is named and easier to reuse. Subqueries are anonymous and can get messy in deeply nested logic. Okay, can CTE be recursive? Yes, we have studied that. Can we use multiple CTEs in one query? Yes, you can use that by separating comma with CTE1 as CTE2 as like this. The 17th number question is extremely important. What are joins and their types? So this is a question that almost 80% of the interviewer will definitely ask you. So we have employees table and one departments table. We have the first join is inner join. So the definition says it returns only matching rows from both tables based on the join conditions. It returns only the matching rows. Okay, suppose we select E dot employee name and D dot department from employees E, and we did inner join. Okay, this is how we write inner join departments on E dot department ID equals to D dot department ID. So this will return only the matching rows from both tables. So it returned Alice and Bob, from one from here Alice and Bob, which is this, because the department ID you can see 101, 102, 101, 102. Straightforward. Now left join. After inner join we have left join or left outer join. We also say this. This returns all rows from left tables, which is your employees, and matching rows from the right table, which is your department. If no match, it will return null. So same, we just in place of your inner join we write left join. So it return the rows from the left table, Alice, Bob, Carol, David. Okay, all three of them, all four of them, sorry. And when we don't find any matching, like Alice is in sales and Bob is in HR department, other than these things, the rest is null. Very straightforward. Now we have, okay, let me just fix it. Yeah. After left join, we have the third one, right join or right outer join, which returns all the rows from the right table, which is department, and matching rows from the left table, just the opposite. Remember left join and you can answer right join. Okay, now we have full outer join, not supported in MySQL directly, but you can use it using union. Okay, so the definition says it returns all rows when there is a matching in one of the tables, including unmatched rows from both tables. Okay, either matching or unmatched. If it is unmatched, it returns null. Now we have cross join. It returns Cartesian product, every row of one table with every row of other. We have self join. Cross join usually not asked, but rest of the joins are asked, so be prepared with that. Self join, this joins a table with itself, commonly used for hierarchical data like managers. Okay, now I have also created one summary table for your reference. You can read it out And remember what is required. I suggest you to write the queries for joins before your interviews so that you can be more confident on joins, because this is a topic that a lot of interviewers asks. This is the question number 18. How to handle nulls in SQL? In SQL, null represents a missing or unknown value. It's not zero or empty, it means no value. Ways to handle is null, is not null. Used to check whether a value is null. Select star from employees where phone is not null. Okay, this is one way. This is another way. If null, when we write select employee name, if null, phone not provided as phone from employee. So these are three ways you can read it out. Now it's time for the cross questions. So we will see only one. Can null value affect count or average? Count includes nulls, count call, and average ignore nulls. Very simple. Let's move to the question number 19th. What are stored procedures? Why use them? Stored procedures is a set of pre-compiled SQL statements stored in the database. You can execute it with a single cell, which improves performance, simplifies code reuse, and boosts security. Think of it as a function in programming, but written in SQL and stored in your database. Why use stored procedure? Of course, the first and the foremost is reusability or reusable logic across multiple applications, improve performance, encapsulate business logic. So the syntax is very simple of stored procedure. Create procedure, get high earners. We begin select star from employees where salary is greater than 70,000 and end. This is how we do this. Delimiter allows multi-line command. Begin in defines the procedure block. You can now call it using call get high earners. This is exactly how you use functions in any of the programming language, whether you have ever used C++, JavaScript, Java. This is just a function of SQL. So if you write like this, then the interviewer will be impressed. I can promise that. So can stored procedures take parameters? Yes, they do. Create procedures, get department, and then we are taking parameters. In department varchar 50. Can a procedure return data? Yes, through select or out parameters to return values. How is a stored procedure different from functions? Very important question. Procedures don't return a value directly. Functions do via return. Procedures are used for executing tasks, not computations. This is a simplest difference between function and procedures. The last question is scenario based. List employees who earn more than their department's average salary. Look, the scenario might be different, but the question and their destination or goal will be similar. They want to see your problem solving ability or thinking ability, how you approach to certain problems when you face some scenario, when you say face difficulties. So we use select employee name, salary, and department from employees E, where salary is greater than select average salary from employees where department equals to E dot department. Okay, very simple. For each employee, the subquery calculates the average salary of that employee's department. Okay, the outer query then filters only those employees earning more than the department average. These are some bonus tips. This is called a correlated subquery. The inner query depends on the outer one. Use these fancy words in your interviews. Correlated subqueries works well for real world use cases like top performers, bonus calculation, etc. Let's see cross questions. Will this work if two employees have the same salary as average? No, they won't appear because the query uses strictly greater than. Use greater than or equals to if you want to include them. Can this be done with a window function? Yes, using average over partition by department, you can use that. We have seen already. This is the example query. Now this ends our top 20 SQL most asked questions. The objective of this video is not to give you the exact questions. Questions may be different in your interviews or maybe you may face different type of scenarios or different cross questions. But what is the objective of this video? To give you an idea what kind of questions that you may expect if you go to for the interview. So I hope this video actually helps you in your life, and if it does, subscribe to Tekneikos. This helps me bring more such content like this.